Collect the build.
Hi, it's Bitkarrot, creator of Hivetalk, and I'm from the rabbit hole.
Welcome to the Connect the World weekly podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Steph. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. This is episode 144 of Connect the World, and this show is made possible by our friends from BRINGIN. Thank you guys for helping us to complete our mission to connect the world with Bitcoin through the Lightning Network or other second layer solution. If you also want to help out with our mission, then follow us on X, follow us on Nostr, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, you can always make a donation. And if you have any questions at all, then head over to one of our Telegram groups where you can ask us anything.
All the way from the rabbit hole, we have Bitkarrot.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, Bitkarrot.
Nice to have you. Finally, because I think last year, was it 12 months, Steph?
I think around 12
Episode
months
124 ago. I saw. Well, someone somewhere there. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was a long time.
it's good. I mean, we've had a lot of developments, so you actually get
That's
the
even
benefit.
better.
Yeah, even better.
Exactly. we get the icing on the cake, Edward.
Yeah, true.
Hey, well, again, good to have you on the show, Bitkarrot. Hivetalk, we're going to about Hivetalk in a bit. But before we're going to talk about Hivetalk, I thought, well, maybe it's nice to break the ice a bit and talk about some different things because, let's start about Nostr because you're developing also on Nostr. It has a very unique culture. Do you feel more like part of a dev community or part of a social movement?
Ooh,
Or maybe
think it's
both?
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
both.
Perfect
Definitely.
combination.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting community. I still feel like it's very niche, and a lot of people in Bitcoin are not on it. You know, and you can see a lot of conferences where people just post their X links, and they're like, "What is Nostr?" Or like, I've heard things like, "Nobody uses Nostr" and stuff like that. I'm like, no, it's really interesting down here. You know?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
But does it frustrate you, or is it just something? Well, you see.
How I
and
got
think,
here?
well, no. I mean
Um,
that the network effect. I think that's the thing that's missing still. Also within the Bitcoin community to use Nostr.
Yeah.
Is that something that frustrates you, or?
No, I think like, you know, the people who are really into it, they understand they're very sticky. I think it's more authentic. You know, the connections you build, I think on Nostr are more real. They feel more organic than on X. Because like I go on X on occasion still and I look at it and I'm just like, oh my God, it's like doom scrolling. There's a algorithm that feeds addiction. And you don't have that on Nostr. There's no addictive feed.
No.
So yeah, I think it's very liberating in that sense because most of the social media these days feels like they're just gamifying your time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I also I'm active on Nostr, but I also it feels you have to do more. I mean, you have to be more aware of using it because at the end it's not like dragging you into the app, right, or into the apps.
No, that's true.
I would say
Yeah.
So you have to do more conscious or something. That's
it's a conscious choice to read the things that you want to read.
So, but that's strange because you're tricking your brain in a way because normally it's getting you using the app a lot, but with Nostr it isn't. So you trick your own brain a bit. That's weird.
Yeah, you have a
for
purpose when you go there and read something and then maybe more like if you see a group of people that you know standing somewhere, you go to them, talk to them. It's more like real life communication when you're participating socially in a more normal way. So it feels like that, I guess.
Yeah, it's healthier. Like,
Yeah, of course.
I think that's important, right? Like
Less
mental
addictive.
health, physical health, wellness.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's really important to me. And so, and some other people, of course, on the network. And yeah, I mean, when I first started using Twitter, X was way back, I think maybe 2011 or so.
Yeah.
And I had to shut it off at some point because I realized I was losing sleep. That feed is so addictive.
That's a problem.
Yeah. And if you're a child, good grief, like you don't know how to regulate that. So it's really unhealthy.
True.
And creates like a lot of anxiety in people. It drives, this constant dopamine hit. And, for some people, it turns into anxiety and depression, which is really unhealthy.
Yeah.
So, but I think for me, at least, what's interesting about Nostr is not just the social aspect, but it's also the global payments connectivity part.
Yeah.
So that's a huge aspect. And, there are many clients out there which are they're like Twitter clones, but I don't really focus on that because there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, that's funny that you say.
There are so many apps
but I think
developed interoperating.
I think the starting point of almost everyone with Nostr is the social corner of Nostr. And all
because
the other
of course
things are...
You see the world as it is and then think, well, this exists here. Can it be better? And of course, it's no problem that it starts there to build something that yet exists and then make it better in a more decentralized way. And then, of course, some new stuff or new ideas can pop up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the way I see it is that the entire internet is getting rebuilt on Nostr. In a more self-sovereign way. Yeah. So the users control their keys, they control their data for the most part. And you can't really do that with mainstream social media. Like if you log into Facebook, you can't really bring your friend network from Facebook to Twitter.
No.
Or
that's,
eBay. And that's like the most powerful thing is that you can bring your entire network. So if you are, for example, if you're a merchant or you're a vendor, let's say like on Etsy or eBay, it would be super awesome to like basically take that entire network and bring it across other platforms. And you can do that with Nostr. I think that's incredibly powerful for, e-commerce, doing business, building networks, all that kind of stuff, which is not present, in the current like internet is very siloed. It's siloed and it's about attention gamification and trying to extract the most attention and time out of its users. And they make money off of your attention and you make nothing. So you're a slave to their system, right? Whereas Nostr is different because Nostr is like, you can control your network. And also it's a value for value network where people basically reward each other with zaps. They send each other lightning. If you like a post, if you like content, if you like what somebody else has produced, if you like a service that they've made, people will send each other lightning over it. And it's, in effect, I think at this point, probably the world's largest Bitcoin circular economy because it is a global network. And that's incredible.
Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah. And I mean, it's best of both worlds in a way. And they also tend to make each other more powerful. So that's the thing what I like the most, to be honest, the combination of decentralized interacting with each other in a social way and also using decentralized money to make payments to each other or value for value or
that's the perfect combination. Without lightning or a second layer solution on top of it, this is just the best combination.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Hivetalk. We're going to talk about Hivetalk, but I don't know if a lot of people know what Hivetalk is. We already used it. I told you in the pre-talk we had that we had a room, Edward, I, and Ramon, our producer, and we were checking all the settings, and we were figuring out how everything worked. And then suddenly someone joined our room and you told us, yeah, but you didn't lock our, then you supposedly didn't lock your room. No, I think we didn't do that because I don't think we knew how to do it or something like that. It was a while ago, to be honest. So the real details I forgot, but it was so funny. But to be honest, I think we were using one of the first versions back then, and
Yeah,
it was already working pretty well. But okay, a video conferencing
we're talking
tool.
about rooms. So what is it?
What is it? What is it? Can you maybe give us a small recap, Bitkarrot?
Yeah, because if we say it's a video conferencing tool built on Nostr, do we? Is that too short? Does it need some extra explanation?
Or is it just what it is?
Oh no! I mean, it is.
Okay.
I mean, that's what it is. So,
yeah.
I mean, originally there were a couple of other apps that did similar work. They had audio spaces, or it was trying to mirror what Twitter did.
I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, I really want to screen share stuff with people. Like it's very difficult to explain something on a screen, or if you're working on some code, you need a visual. And nobody was building a video conferencing app. And I said, well, I got to solve this problem. And I hadn't actually developed anything on Nostr at that point, even though, 2 years before I actually was on the first Nostr podcast, Nostrovia.org. So my co-host at that time actually went and interviewed a whole bunch of devs. That whole podcast is really a technical interview. So I learned a lot about that, but I was spending a lot of time working on Lightning. I was a Allen Bits contributor and I was,
cool.
other things in Lightning space.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, this will be fun. Like, let's do a fun project. And I said, okay, well, let's do some sort of video conferencing on Nostr because I want to screen share and add zaps. And that's pretty much the innovation, is that we've integrated Nostr profiles as identifiers to see who was actually in the chat room and provide that kind of social networking ability. And also people can zap each other in rooms. So there's a little icon where you can, click that and somebody does something really cool and you want to, share your value for value appreciation. You can just go ahead and send them Lightning straight through the video conferencing app, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, really cool. And you told us that you've built the first version of the project in just 2 weeks. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I forked a version of software. There's many free open source conferencing tools out there like Jitsi and this version. This version was MiroTalk. And, I had my reasons for picking it. And then I said, okay, go fast. Let's do something for fun, and see if it works. Maybe only 5 people use it. That's okay. Next thing I know, I have like thousands of people coming to use it on a regular basis. So I was like, okay. It was all good and fun. It was great. It was nice to see that people connect through that because like Nostr, a lot of the clients are pretty much text-based and there's some media-based. And some of the apps are also streaming-based, but there isn't any like, what we have right now in this conversation where we have screen sharing and I can see your face or in an interactive setting, there was nothing. So this was like an empty space that was not there in Nostr.
Cool.
And it's part of the other stuff. It's not just about the Twitter style feeds.
Cool.
And it's complementary. So I think that, like people have a demand for it.
Yeah, well, that's what I just mentioned. That I think a starting point for a lot of people is the social aspect. And well, you could argue if this isn't also a social thing, because at the end, I think it is. But it's like real an app built on the protocol. And I think I'm excited about it, and also excited about all the other things that are built on Nostr. So, but hey, let's dive into the 21 minutes because we prepared a lot of questions about Hivetalk, and you also mentioned in the pre-talk that there are now 2 versions. So maybe you can also explain what's that about. So, but it has to be in the 21 minutes. So if you are ready, Bitkarrot, then we would like to enter that part. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. The 21 minutes is brought to you by BRINGIN, the app to reliably sell and spend Bitcoin from any wallet. Well, Hivetalk is, of course, built on Nostr. And do you think Nostr native identity, like the npubs, will be enough to attract mainstream users? Or are you thinking about more hybrid logins, like email, lightning address? Maybe will that still remain necessary? Or how do you envision it?
So this is just my take on the space ever since last year, because I think it's a very new space, and a lot of people, if they're in Bitcoin, they will probably be exposed to Lightning at this point. And so the original version that we had built, it's a server, it's pretty small, it maxes out at like 100 users. And we have, not just Nostr login, but you can also, type your Lightning address. You can, type a Gravatar email address. You can just type your name. So we've always left that door open. So if you're not a Nostr user, you can just come in anyway and chat, but you're not going to get like all the fancy Nostr stuff. And I think it's a good way because like it's still new. It's still early. It's less than 5 years old as a network. And it certainly does get people more interested in it. I've seen people come and say, I don't know what Nostr is, but I saw this, somebody's actually doing a public chat room about a certain topic and I'm interested in it, and they want to come in. And so we don't block people from coming in, and we don't really want to collect information. It's actually more work to collect all the information and integrate all that other stuff. So we just let you just type your name if you just want to come in and you don't want to log in. So yeah, it's I think this year has been a little bit slower in terms of Nostr growth than last year. And there was a lot more activity. At least I felt there was more activity. It's hard to quantify because it is a distributed network.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think it has legs. And, it's maybe a little bit like that AI conversation you and I had earlier where, there's nothing, and it explodes all of a sudden and everybody's on it. So with new technology, I feel like that's pretty much, it's possible. It's incredible technology. I think there's legs, and I can't really speak for what the future is, but we've always left the door open for someone who's not on the network.
Yeah, but sometimes someone or something needs to kick the can down the road, and then suddenly everyone has a need or has a purpose or whatever to use it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, you wrote that Zoom taught people what to expect from video chat. How do you balance meeting user expectation with pushing them toward a different, more decentralized experience with Hivetalk?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the first part of that question.
I said you wrote that Zoom taught people what to expect from video chat. That's something you wrote.
Zoom.
Oh, Zoom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Well, during Corona, of course, a lot of people went over to Zoom. Zoom got a lot of fiat money coming in.
Yeah.
And of course, people get accustomed to using it and all the features that are in there. And the question is about balancing meeting user expectations from Zoom and all the things you don't need. With pushing them into more decentralized experience.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't focus on building excess amounts of features. I think that's really important. It's like, I see that happening with a lot of prototype apps. It's like they try to cram in a ton of features and then, they don't really focus on the quality of experience that, to make sure it just works. And, what I focused on more was making sure it just works, making sure the user experience is decent enough and people don't complain too much. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but, like filling that out, really early on helps. I think most people, they just want this ability to connect. Like here we are right now on, Riverside, right? And, there are a lot of other tools that are built for specifically podcasting. But, not everyone necessarily needs that. I think most people just connect because they actually want to communicate and plan. That's what I see, at least, on Hivetalk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of community chats, and that's one of the reasons why we left it mostly public. Now, of course, you can lock the room if you want to lock it for privacy. But originally, it's really to get the community to connect with each other more. So that's why these rooms are all public. It started like a public town square, that kind of thing. I mean, at least that's the idea behind it. And what we started seeing was towards the end of last year, our server was getting hit pretty hard. And I was like, I don't think this little server is going to stand up, you know, because if you have 50, 60, 70 people coming in, it's not scalable, right? So we started looking for other scalability options. I said, okay, so let's keep the small one running and let's start building something, you know, that actually scales to thousands of users. And that's what we released this year. The original Hivetalk was rebranded to Vanilla Hivetalk, and the new version is called Hivetalk Honey, which goes to thousands of users. It's much more stable for global connectivity. We're going to come out with a mobile version that a lot of people have been asking for, and there's a lot more Nostr integration. So, you know, for example, you can have a permanent room, you know, that's private with specific members, and you know, it can be locked to Nostr users, and you can plan events. And the cool part about Nostr is that if you broadcast a event on Hivetalk, it will show up in all the other clients. And I think that's incredible because you have that, you know, you have that instantaneous network effect without having to like build out yourself. Because if you think about a platform like Zoom or Google Meet, it's pretty much a silo. Like if you create an event there, like it doesn't automatically broadcast to the rest of your network. Like you won't see it on your other apps necessarily.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like it's a. I think this is one of the most incredible parts about Nostr is like I don't have to worry about building that part because the network actually builds it for you.
Yeah, exactly, and exactly, and the interoperability with all the different apps is amazing. I mean, that's also something that struck me really. That I have used different clients to have just like the X like the timelines and all Primal and Damas and all that kind of stuff, and you just log in with your credentials and there it is, you know, it's just there. And it's
so
just,
easy.
It's so easy, but also kind of like an experience I didn't have before with other protocols or other apps. So that's also really the thing that I love the most on Nostr, I think. So, I also, so of Hivetalk already integrates Zaps, obviously, and Nostr login. What other protocol level features like NIP specific extensions do you see as essential for real adoption?
For adoption, how?
Yeah,
we actually go ahead.
Yeah, for Nostr adoption, but also Hivetalk in the end for the adoption of Hivetalk.
So what we actually did was we extended one of the protocol specifications. It was NIP 53. And we wrote protocol specifications for interactive rooms. So these are a different class of items from live streams because they're, you know, Nostr has live streams, but that's like a one-to-many broadcast, kind of like broadcasting on YouTube or Twitch. Okay. And interactive rooms are a different kind. And so before Hivetalk Honey, that didn't exist. Like we weren't actually broadcasting that way. People would share the link, but you wouldn't be able to have other clients adopt the kind and then display the fact that there is actually a live room right now going on Hivetalk. Like that didn't exist. So we have two clients that actually adopt that protocol right now. One is Nostr Nest, which is an audio space, and then Hivetalk, which is video conferencing. And the beauty of this too is that, you know, if there are, we haven't done this yet, so it's in progress. But if you have like another client, which is more of a chat-based group chat client, and people in that particular chat are using Hivetalk, you can actually have Hivetalk integrated into their chat. You know, so they don't.
So they can open a room in that chat or something, or how does that work?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually release an SDK in the next couple months. So if somebody actually built like a group chat room, sort of like a Discord chat room, but they didn't want to build out the video audio aspect, they could just use our SDK and then they could hook directly into Hivetalk without having to do the work. And, that Nostr kind would allow them to signal that there's a room open, and they would also be able to link directly into Hivetalk and have the interface already built
that
for
makes
them.
it super easy for developers. Yeah, to integrate it. Yeah.
But do I need to see it like you mentioned Discord, for instance? In Discord, you also have like the channels, the messaging channels, but also like the podium where one can stream,
Twitch,
like a live stream or something. Is it similar to that, or?
Yeah, you know how Discord has chat rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right,
true.
and they have also like interactive, screen sharing, that kind of feature, right?
Yeah,
so
cool.
there are other clients out there like Chat, which is very similar to Discord. So all the textual features and the group chat features, they exist in other clients. But the cool thing about Nostr is that other client does not have to build out the video conferencing aspect to integrate it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think this provides a very different dynamic in the developer community, which I haven't really seen as much. It's very prevalent in open source, but this is this takes it to a different level because developers are basically collaborating with other developers to integrate their pieces in this way.
And the cool thing is, I think you have your like the thing you're great in, and that is developing something around video sharing and that kind of stuff. And I can imagine that once a complete app but doesn't have the experience on that particular part can just via your SDK integrate that part that are not good in developing, right? So yeah, I think you can elevate each other.
And the other part is like they don't actually even have to use the SDK. If they just want to show the actual event, you know, it would be like as a card or as a link.
Oh, that's also possible, of course. And then they head over to the Hivetalk platform.
And so for the new version of what we did is we changed the architecture, because before it was just a client. The original version was just, okay, here's a Nostr login. We'll fetch your Nostr profiles. You can send notes to Nostr to certain relays, and you can do lightning zaps. There was no relay behind it. It was just very, very simple. It was just two or three things. And then this time what we did was we wrote our own relay. So we changed the architecture. So basically Hivetalk can run headless. So like you don't have to use our client. Other clients can use our, client. They can create rooms using our relay.
Yeah, the specific relay. Yeah, because video, of course, is very bandwidth heavy, of course, and not a natural fit for relays, right?
Yeah.
The normal relays then.
Not the normal relays, yeah.
If you think in matter of scaling this even more, will it become a problem with the relays? Well, of course they need something else, but you think?
Yeah, this architecture. So what we used LiveKit.
Yeah.
So we're using the LiveKit backbone, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this company. It's a unicorn in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So they provide basically web RTC, video conferencing, audio conferencing, also AI integration, all these different things. It's open source. Yeah, it's open source. And you can effectively build like a global backbone or, use their cloud backbone either way. But what happens is that's decoupled from like the Nostr relays. So the Nostr relay would give you a token that gives you access to that video global backbone.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's decoupled in that sense, and it's all really modular. And so what we use with the Nostr relay right now is that we're using it to basically track the room's existence. So on Hivetalk Honey, you can have permanent rooms. So on the original version, vanilla, none of the rooms would persist. Like you can't have a room that's called Connect the World and keep it, like you can use it for your session and then it would disappear. You couldn't just hang on to it. And I think there are communities that want to hang on to that name because they would go back to the same link over and over again and someone can hijack it. So there is a new specification for that where you can own that name.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just on, our client. It's just part of the protocol. So whatever kind of implementation, you can have like a name for an interactive room. And then you can also create a calendar event tied to that room. So like if you want to schedule, a meeting for your club or your meetup, you can do that. And these events are all connected. So that's like the major piece that we built in. And then the other part that we actually added to Hivetalk Honey was the ability to create lists. And so we would use, follow lists to be the moderator list or like for a private room list. And they would all be based on npubs.
Yeah.
And that way it's more secure too, because the whole thing is that you're specifying who can actually have access to a private room based on their Nostr npubs. And you have that secure verification because it's pub key based. It's not like email or just a name or some other panel based. And this is really like the big step forward in this version in terms of the Nostr side.
Yeah.
And then we also added the ability to schedule notes. You can schedule anything. You can schedule regular notes, or you can, copy an event, or you can like mention other people in your follow list and promote your event using our client. So those are the major three. And the other thing is that because we're using LiveKit, this infrastructure scales to thousands and thousands of users. So as Nostr grows, we don't have to, sweat. Oh my God, am I going to be able to handle the traffic? Yeah, fine, bring it. Actually, I would love it if somebody out there wants to come like host an event on Hivetalk with over 100 users. Please come do it. I would love to see that.
Stress test it.
Stress test. Yeah.
Please stress test it. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to hear more user feedback. A lot of people really love what we do, and I see these interesting rooms come and go, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could join that room. I didn't get invited.
Well, that's fun. What kind of people? Well, not the actual people, but what kind of way is it used? Educational,
so
or just talking, or business, or I don't know.
Maybe a follow-up to that question. Is there also a case that you couldn't imagine while writing the code for this? That you thought, well, it's now used for this, and I couldn't imagine. I never thought about it.
I think the coolest one recently has been vibe coding session meetups. So people are now doing more and more vibe coding.
Yeah.
So there's a company called Soapbox. Yep. I don't know if you heard of them. Yeah. So
Soapbox.
Yeah, every Monday, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, they are part of the Soapbox team. They host a vibe coding session. So anybody can come and, learn about how to vibe code on Nostr or vibe code in general. And people share their projects about what they vibe coded. And I think that's super cool. Like, I didn't see that coming last year. Yeah. It's incredible. Like, it's so incredible because like they're able to like vibe code something in about like 10 minutes. Like the session is usually 2 hours long, and Derek usually does a demo of something at the beginning. He can vibe code an entire Nostr client in less than 10 minutes, which is just incredible. And other people come in and they share their little apps too, and there's always a very interesting discussion. Like I didn't see that. I of course, from 24 to 2025, a lot has changed in the AI space. I think it's exciting. Like we didn't vibe code this, app, but I think like moving forward, I could see a lot of other things that we could do. I think it's very cool because I have now like 5 different ideas, and I'm like, oh, this would take me a lot less time to actually do it. I just might as well, vibe code some, prototype. And I could use like a Hivetalk backend, and that'd be interesting to just play with.
Yeah. And I also think, because you're meeting a lot of people then also, and if I look at Soapbox, I see here Bookster, some other things that we wrote and talked about earlier with other guests. There's so many developers building on Nostr, and if you all know each other and know Hivetalk, they can all find some way to implement something that is missing. So Hivetalk, Honey, it's so fun to see all those projects. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it certainly takes, it's a little bit of a relief too, because, a lot of people come and say, can I have this feature? Can I have that feature? And,
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm like, I don't know if we have the time to build that, but now they can go build it themselves, and
Yeah.
I think that's part of the power of the whole Nostr network is that you can build a lot of the stuff in a weekend. They're
or during nighttime, just one night.
Hey, but
or make it personal. It's like
Why
personal
not?
computing. It's like really personal computing now. Like that's the cool part. It's like, well, I
It
don't want
is.
your client. I want to do this way, and this is more fit to my use case. So
Yeah.
It really takes personal computing to another level.
Yeah, cool. And I'm curious because, well, we are now. I hear the TikTok, so we are at the end of the interview. Unfortunately, we could talk for hours. I guess. But do you see Hivetalk primarily as a standalone app or as a protocol level building block that others can extend into their own products? Because
The latter.
The
Definitely
latter,
the latter.
with the SDK, right?
Yeah, well, you can actually even do it with the Nostr relay right now. You can build out, because the SDK for LiveKit exists, you can build out whatever you want on top. So
the
you
relay
can just
is
use
easier.
a relay. Everything's relay based.
Amazing. Yeah,
amazing.
So
Yeah,
simple.
but the project, but was it your vision from the beginning to build a protocol level building block, or was it the beginning? Was it the standalone app where you started? Because I can imagine that maybe that is your starting point. And then
starting
along the way,
find a solution.
you see, well, it's bigger than this.
Yeah, it's become a lot bigger, and like I think part of it was Fiat Jeff, having conversation with Fiat Jeff, and having conversation with Nostr and Eric Ross, and asking them, like really asking them what are you guys doing over there? Because it never occurred to me until I had those conversations with them. Mostly because the two of them really spend a lot more time in the Nostr space than I do. Like I actually only spend about 10 hours, and I'm really not, that social on the social media part, because it's like I either spend this time building stuff or I'm social. I can't do both. There's only that many hours in a day. So like having those conversations were really helpful, because I realized that, there's going to be growth. Like people are using it a lot, and then like it's going to grow even more. So how do you scale beyond this? Prototypes is cool, but and it's really, I think, incredible that now it's not just one app, but it can be extended towards many use cases, infinite numbers of use cases. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah, it's so nice to have that development along the way, right? It's cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
Conecta el mundo.
Let's head over to the lightning bingo. We pre-recorded 2 questions for you, Bitkarrot, and the funny thing is, you may choose yourself. So we have a question from Pierre Corbin, and he's from Flash, or we have Paul Keating, and he's from Primal.net. So which one will it be?
Pierre.
Okay, Pierre from Flash.
I'm Pierre from Flash. And what do you think is more important, to make people save in Bitcoin or accept Bitcoin payments?
Wow, that's a hard question. Can we do both?
Of course. Well, if you're talking about more adoption or the future or a Bitcoin standard or something, what will be more important? That's what will get the Bitcoin space to that
but
moment.
The question is, I think Pierre means that the standard is you do both, you save and you spend. But what is more important? Is it more important that people must save in Bitcoin, or is it more important that they also spend Bitcoin? I mean, I think that's the question.
Well, for monetary, like in my head, money has to be both a store of value and also a means of exchange. So, like we all know that Bitcoin's a store of value. People have been hodling for a long time. But, to really make it work as an international global monetary standard, you have to have a big circular economy. So like, before, I would say the whole reason why I got into Bitcoin was because of payments. Like I had so many problems with international payments. I was just so frustrated with banks. That was the worst experience ever with banking. And so Bitcoin was the thing that saved me. I was just like, oh, okay, I can just like send this to you, right? And then, layer one is only going to work for so long until it doesn't really, for small payments at this point, no, right.
Mhm.
Lightning is really the way forward. Some people say, okay, maybe Cashew is the next level. I think Lightning is one of the ways you can scale those global payments.
Mhm.
But how we're doing that is also really important too, because you want to protect people from scams. You want to protect people from like rug pulls, those things. And
Yeah.
also like education is really important as well, because a lot of people don't understand how this system is very different from their existing fiat system. And I feel like in the last couple of years, you see a lot more people just conflating the way the fiat world works with the way like Lightning and Bitcoin works. And I think that's not a good direction.
No.
So I think Nostr is the opposite direction. Like a lot of people, there are quite a number of people who've actually entered a Nostr ecosystem without even knowing what Bitcoin is.
Yeah,
that's true. But
we talk to a lot of people also about Nostr, and some people say indeed that they have users that never
That's amazing,
maybe never
right?
heard about Bitcoin is maybe too much, but maybe they heard about it, but they never used it, or they never really taught themselves about it, but then entered Nostr, and via Nostr they got orange pilled or some way, So
exactly.
Yeah.
And
it's
very good for like emerging musical artists, especially those on I think Spotify who are trying to make it. I saw recently, and there was a Spotify artist who had spent like $100,000 producing her album, and then for whatever reason Spotify deleted it. And this is the trouble with these big siloed tech empires. If they decide for whatever reason, we don't like you, because they thought her music wasn't generated by her, and she's like, I'm the artist, like how am I supposed to prove to you that this is actually my music? And so she would try to go up against the system, but you're gonna get slammed down every single time. But if an artist like that came over to Nostr, and people actually, liked her entire fan group came over, she would get paid directly through Lightning without a middleman.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly powerful, because a lot of these
Yeah.
emerging artists make nothing. They make, less than a penny on their streams. Whereas on Nostr, they can just generate, let's say you have 1,000 really solid followers, and they zap you for whatever you're releasing, what incredible content. You could be generating thousands, hundreds of thousands dollars worth of Bitcoin straight to you without anybody in between telling you that you can't do it.
Yeah, true.
And also authenticating it, because you control that key, that public key that's tied to your identity. So if someone tries to come in like, oh, I'm going to copy you, or I'm going to be a scammer or impersonate you, you can always go back to that key. I think that's what's really powerful about, getting people into Nostr and building that circular economy, that transactional economy, to, not just be a store of value, and to also be like a means of exchange.
That's nice ending like this. Great question, great answer. So thanks again. Really.
Oh, one other thing I want to mention,
of course,
is a value for value actually works. This is one thing I wasn't too sure if it was going to work, because to me a lot of times value for value feels like donations, but I think people in the Nostr Bitcoin space have really shifted the way they see everything. And so if they get value out of something, they will actually zap you for it. For me personally, I was actually really kind of surprised, because Hivetalk completely has been sustained from a value for value model. We have zap goals that we hit every single month. Basically, if you're using the service and you think it's useful, you can send Lightning directly to us. And that's what helps cover our costs, what helps all of us do our work and improve the service.
Great.
I thought about subscription models, and I don't know if this would scale, to be honest with you. This is a big question mark, because I don't know if value for value would actually scale. It's very difficult, right? But I think when we get to that point, we're going to have to figure out, how we're going to grow it beyond a certain level, right? And some people go to subscriptions, but subscriptions are really tricky because like the purchasing power parity is very different across different countries. Right. So like if we have a lot of people from say Southeast Asia and their purchasing power is not so great, like how can I ask them like X sats per month?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How can I ask them for like, you know, that would work for, let's say, Europe or America, but I just don't think it could work for other places. So this is, I think, an unsolved issue.
Yeah, this can also be tricky because I know
yeah.
I'm a Formula One lover, enthusiast, so I like to watch F1 racing. And a lot of people here in Holland, they open they create a Indian Apple account, and then they load up their balance, and then they purchase the F1 subscription through the Indian marketplace, and it's like maybe more than half cheaper than what we pay here in Holland. So it's also a tricky part, right? So just the subscription, I'm not a fan. And by the way, you have to have a subscription for everything nowadays, and
you want to be open to a lot of countries with different backgrounds and economical states those countries are in. So I can imagine that that this still is a difficult thing to sustain yourself.
It's a big question mark. You know, like
true.
I don't know. You know, of course, this is an open call. If anybody's listening to this, if you have ideas,
perhaps.
you know, just feel free to like let me know of what you want.
That would be nice.
Yeah, because I would love to have more feedback from people who are using the service. I think a lot of them are very happy, but then I don't hear anything. You know, it's sort of like,
cool.
oh, you're happy, okay?
Well, people that are happy.
Talking about that Bitkarrot, where can people follow you, and where can people reach out to you, and what are the links to the projects?
Yeah, of course, hivetalk.org. You'll find us there. We also have links inside the project. There's a Discord where we coordinate, you know, within the team. You can find me on Nostr as Bitkarrot. Short link would be primal.net/Bitkarrot. I also have a Nostr, and I've wiped out my profile so many times I just keep a Nostr now. It's too difficult. You know, that's the problem with Nostr. You know, some of the early apps will accidentally wipe your profile out. So
great.
Cool.
Well, thanks for sitting down with us and to talk about Hivetalk. I can relate to you that if someone is listening and wants to help out or has some feedback or try it out if you didn't, then of course go to hivetalk.org and just run it, test it, and do everything you thought of not doing. Because of course it is super easy to use. We tried it also, and that was a long time ago. So I think it will be a lot better now. Thanks everybody else for listening in, and thanks of course for helping to connect the world with us. So if you like our content, then please support us in our mission. Visit our website connecttheworld.live, where you can also make a donation, and subscribe, like, and share our content on your favorite platform. So we need you to complete our mission, connect the world. So keep those sats flowing, nodes running, and of course, flow some sats to Hivetalk if you like it. And see you next week on the same Lightning channel.
See ya.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
for
again.
stuff.
Of course.